video, I will be removing the piston pins. Things called wrist pins. But I don't, because they're not on your wrist, are they? They're where? On pistons. And they are pins, so I call them piston pins. I don't care what everybody else calls them. I just call them piston pins. Anyways, and I'm going to be removing them using a hydraulic jack at home with a really small, it's not what's basically an arbor press. Well, not an arbor press, just a press, hydraulic press. And this is the simplest setup you can have. Well, it looks kind of complicated. It's only I actually made this years ago. This was my first welding project years ago, back when I just had a flux core 110 volt welder. Clear enough. These big things here, if you can tell what they are, but they're actually weights. I got them from the gym that they were scrapping it, so I just got a bunch of these, and that's what I used it for. And over here on the middle it has a hole, and I just clamped another weight on top of it, another set of weights on top of it, with the same hole, and I bolted it because I needed more space. On a normal full-size press, this would be much easier, much faster as well. Now, I know there are a lot of, I've seen some people saying, "Oh my God, you can't do this, you can't do that, well, you gotta take it to a specialized machine shop." Well, the manual actually doesn't say anything about specialized service. It has a picture of these things, it just says put it in the press and remove it. Now, some of these things, they might have more of a chamfer to one side than the other in some other cases, some other cars, but if it did have something like that, I'm sure the manual would have said it. So I don't think there's any, it doesn't matter if you take it out, if you push it out through this side or through this side. It doesn't matter, at least not in this car. So this is called the semi-floating system. Why? Because the pin can rotate freely on the piston, but it's press fit onto the connecting rod. Now some pistons, or some piston pins, they're called full floating pistons, and they're free on the connecting rod as well. So basically what happens is, and on the ends here, they've got snap rings that keep them from moving out. Otherwise they'd hit the cylinder bore, they'd hit the wall right when the engine is moving. You don't want it. In this case here, the only thing that keeps this from just coming off is the pressure from the connecting rod. It's press fit into there. So some people, some shops have, I've seen a few videos on the internet, people heating this up. They have some sort of machine where they put the pistons in, and then they heat it up red hot. Some people were saying, I was reading discussions about that. Now, I don't want to heat this up. First of all, I don't have a machine. Second of all, the manual doesn't say to heat it up red hot. It just says you put it in the press and remove it. So, I mean, people are just, a lot of people, they're smart asses without the smart part. They try to make their jobs look a lot harder than they actually are, a lot more complicated, and I just really hate that. So, I mean, if the manual, like I said, if the manual said it required, if it were to say, if it actually required some sort of weird machine, the manual would say that, because in other instances, it does instruct you to use the important machines, such as a tool or a rigid type hone, for example. That's pretty much the flywheel. You gotta heat, it says to heat up the outer ring on the flywheel in order to remove it. Well, those gears on the flywheel, they're not actually integral with that big wheel. You can actually remove and replace them. Never heard of any of that ever being necessary, but I mean, it could be if somebody did something stupid to the starter, you can gauge it. But anyways, it does say you have to heat it up quite significantly in order to remove it. So my point is, if this required some sort of special treatment, they would say it. They would say it. And sure enough, I've already removed all 5 of them, and I haven't had any scratches, any damages to the piston pins, nor to the connecting rods, and nor to the pistons. I've some small exceptions. So that's my point. People actually make things sound a lot more complicated than they actually are. Just put this in a press, use a socket. On the manual actually instructs the use of a special tool. In my case, I'm just using a 1/2-inch socket. Fits in there nicely. And for the outer part, I'm using the 22mm socket. 7/8, but the 22 was a little bit tighter, and I'd rather use that to keep it, to prevent the problems of the damaging, to prevent damage to the pistons. So, that being said, why would you remove pistons? So, first of all, if you're removing pistons, that's because they're bad. You don't ever have to remove them otherwise. Unless the connecting rods are bad. So either the pistons or the connecting rods are bad for you to require removal. If you just need to replace the springs, the rings and these things here, the compression rings and the oil control rings, you don't have to remove the connecting rod. You can just put it on the piston. So that being said, I don't care too much about the pistons. As you can see, these pistons, they're far, far, far beyond any reasonable repair. Let's try to zoom in there. There. See, there's big giant holes on them, so I don't really care about them. I've already got the new ones. Some of the other pistons, I just cracked them off. But the reason you don't want to do that, see this one too, I just broke it into pieces. See? This one actually didn't look too bad, but the lands on it were far gone, so it is bad. But the reason why I'm saying that you don't want to just destroy it is because I like to practice on these things, because in some instances you want to keep the pistons, such as if you're ever going to replace them, and they're fine. Just the cylinder wall has actually worn out. I don't see that happening because these pistons are made of cast aluminum. And they're fairly hard. They're very strong things. But the cylinder wall is made of cast iron, which is a lot harder than cast aluminum. So if the cast iron cylinder walls are worn, then the piston is worn for sure. But in some cases you'd want to keep them if they're not too damaged, or maybe somebody put them in by mistake. So I just want to practice. I went ahead and practiced removing them, and as I don't know if you can really see there, but they've come out. You'll be able to see, I don't think, but there's no scratches. On some parts there have been light scratches, unfortunately, but that is because that's impossible to remove completely. Why? Because when you're pushing it out, the connecting rod is pressing against the face here of the piston here, and I don't think they're perfectly flat, so you are going to get a little bit. I did get a little bit of damage, but it shouldn't be a big problem at all. But my point is, I want to try to practice with these things. One more thing I forgot to say is that with the people heating these things to red hot, these are forged connecting rods, so it's not cast iron. But with people heating these things to red hot, you are inevitably changing the structure of the steel. It's quite a debate about it. I have never actually done it. There's no conclusive way of knowing if you should heat it or not. I did actually put these in a pot of boiling coolant with water, and it didn't seem to help at all. And in fact, it seemed it made it worse. So what I'm just going to do is what anybody else should do, is just put some WD-40 diesel, or in my case I'm using transmission fluid, ATF, just to lubricate those surfaces and ensure it comes out smoothly. But like I said, once again, in rare cases are you going to have to keep the pistons. So in most cases it won't matter at all. But it's really, really important not to damage any piston pins, but especially not the connecting rods. They are harder to find, although I scored, I got a full set 6 connecting rods for $50 from eBay. So that was, but that, I've seen the same connecting rods, just one for over 100. So on sometimes people will just replace the whole thing, just buy the whole new set, and that's it. But in my case, the most important part here are these connecting rods. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not too keen on preserving the pistons, but I like to try my best so that I can practice, and you never know, in some rare case it might be necessary to save pistons. So let's get to it. Once again, with my setup, I'm actually using these 2 forged C-clamps here, holding this big piece of 3/4 inch flat steel here, and that's just shutting off the hole, and then I put the socket way up in there like that. There is some space here, and then I put the little socket on the other side and it pushes. Now the reason I need the socket is because you don't want to force the face of the piston. It's too much, the load is too, because then it's hard to explain, but if you force it here in the middle, the force is directed at one point. Then if you support it around, it tends to break. It's the same as stepping on a piece of wood. Now let me demonstrate a piece of wood. Here, take this piece of wood for example. It's pretty long. I'm supporting it there on the table. Now if I were to step here, as you can see, it will break. But, however, if I have, the closer the supports are, so if I, now, the closer the supports are, the more force you would require to break this, the harder it is to break it. So, once again, if I support this piece of wood again, which is only half size now, that same spot, it's a lot harder to break now. And if I were to support it, say this vise here, 2 points here, and as you can see, they're very close, and I try to break it here, I can actually run a car on top of this and it will not break, because the force is being directed to the steel. Here, there's no support, there's no backing behind it, so it'll break. But although you can never actually get the backing directly, see, if I were to step here, then it would never even break. Never. It's impossible to break it. You could squash it, but because you have this steel here backing it, the force is being transmitted through it, and it's blocking it and stopping it. But if there is space, then you might break it, sort of thing. Hopefully you understand what I mean. It's a little bit awkward to explain, especially here on video. I have to think about explaining these things. that's the point. If I were to open this, say over here, I can just break it in half really easily. So the closer the supports are, the more force you have. So pistons here, it's the same thing. If I just support it here directly on the press here, and just try to push the pin out, it's just going to crack the piston. So I want the force to have support. I want it to have backing. So that's why I'm using this socket. Now it has to be a really important size. In the manual, you actually have a special tool that you buy. But try finding any original AMC tools from '63. If you find them, they're really expensive. So the opening of the socket has to be big enough for the pin to pass through it. So that's what I'm doing. Now with these sockets, another thing you got to watch out for is that the space doesn't go all the way to the end. This hexagon shape here, it doesn't go all the way to the end. It goes only about halfway. And in some sockets, a similar size, there's another socket there, and one of them only goes up to here. Not even halfway, just about a quarter of the way. So the piston would actually go in maybe that much, and then it would hit the inner shoulder there, the shoulder that's inside there. So you got to be really careful about that. So I think that's enough theory. Let's get to the practice. Assisted here. Like I said, this is just a homemade press. It cost me literally nothing to make this. That's too big. That one's a little bit too short. Fuck. I hate when that happens. I'm just using this piece of flat bar because the head of the jack is not perfectly flat. So when I put the little 1/2-inch socket there, it tends to bar out of the way. Centered. Make sure it's centered on the jack. Most important, centered right there. Tried doing this with a 2-ton jack, it did not work. So this is actually a 12-ton jack. So it does require a huge amount of force to move these piston pins. I should say. Now be very careful. These C-clamps, they're taking on I don't know how many tons of force, and they're actually not springing apart. So they could possibly break. Need a lot more force for that, but it can be a bit scary. And I don't know, maybe if you were to do this with huge pistons, then you might break them, but here, crank sound. way, I'm actually using a brake fluid on this hydraulic jack. Can't use it had engine oil in it before. I think it might have ruined the seals. That's why it's leaking at the bottom, unfortunately. But maybe the brake fluid will correct it. That's about as far up as I can go. Loosen it up. Jack down. That's why it's important to have the right side socket. So now I'm using 5/8 socket. Oh, this is for a spark plug. What's so special about it? Again, make sure that's centered. Squirt holes. One there, another one there. They're for lubrication. Now the aftermarket, which is aftermarket, still for 1960s. No aftermarket, just replacement pistons. Some of them have it, but some of them don't. So this one's good. So I actually pulled it out from a box from the 60s, and as you can see, this one doesn't have any holes. So what happened was these holes, they were a bit overkill. The upper part, these cylinders and the camshaft got more than enough oil, and they just exaggerated a little bit with these holes here. And that same principle applies for the bearings. The connecting rod bearings, the connecting rods, these ones have one hole, one squirt hole. And the oil, every turn, when the crankshaft hole aligned with this hole, it would squirt oil onto the camshaft. This hole goes all the way through. Some connecting rods even have two of these squirt holes, one for each side, which is silly because there's nothing on the other side, it's just the block. So eventually they just did away with these holes, and same for the bearings that go in here. Some of them have one hole, some of them even have two holes, and some of them have no holes, which is what I'm going to use. I think it's best, I personally think it's best not to have any holes, because we're taking a spot where there's too much lubrication that's not necessary, which is up there in the pistons and the camshaft. They already get more than enough oil, and we're taking it away from the crankshaft. The crankshaft, to me, is the most critical part of the engine. If you lose a piston, you can possibly repair it, you can get a machine shop to rebuild it, you can buy new ones, you can buy new old stock on eBay, but a crankshaft, you ruin a crankshaft really bad, such as I had, the one that I have, and you're done. It's going to be quite costly to repair it. And anyways, so what we're doing is taking away oil from a part that has too much and moving it to a more critical part. I think it's really bad that the crankshaft, there's a part of the rotation where it gets no oil. So at this point, this should be able to pull out the pin easily. see, I've switched to I'm just using a socket wrench. Before I was using this huge wrench, normal jack wrench. It's quite a lot more force, but that's just initially. As soon as we're done, that goes much smoother. Let's put some oil in. I sort of know when to stop, because remember that socket has the shoulder on the inside. So as soon as this, as soon as I start to need too much force when it stops, then I'm going to stop. I'm not going to force it. So I'm just still a significant amount of force I'm exerting, but it's a little bit. Right, stopped right there. So I'm actually feeling some springiness here. That's enough. It reached the shoulder. So open it up and now switch to the last. So at this point, I can no longer use the socket because it's bottomed out. So what do we do? I could either get a pipe and put it around here, but at this point we don't need a lot of force to pull this pin out. So I can actually do the support on the pistons, on the piston sides right here as well. So I'm just going to put it in the hole like that. That's it. And I'm going to make sure to put these little sheets of rubber, make sure they're clean, on the pistons here, like that, so that they're not scratched. Which in this case, of course, is just for demonstration purposes, because these pistons are garbage. But I just want to practice and show you. Piston pin bores, these holes, either to the connector rod, either to the pin themselves. So, now I'm switching to solid. This is steel that I have. Could use another socket, put some, make sure the socket that you're using, I'm using this 5/8 spark plug socket again. It fits in there very snug.